I'd like to introduce Diana, who will be moderating this panel for women in technology. Diana is a network infrastructure account manager at Nokia and has traveled from Dallas to join us today. Diana, are you going to introduce your panelists, or would you like me to?
I can introduce them.
Okay, perfect.
Whoa. Hi, should I introduce myself first? Okay, perfect. What is this? Cool, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Diana. Thank you for joining us today. I've never done anything like this, so bear with me. But I will introduce our awesome panelists today. So we have Alex on the end, and then we have Bhavna, we have Yolandi, Lucy, we have Aaron, Limor, and we have Clara. I'll give them some time to introduce themselves, but I kind of want to talk about why I wanted to do this, but I am originally from Uzbekistan, which is a country in Central Asia, and a lot of people there, especially women, sometimes don't go in the workforce, and they are just like expected to care for their family. And I'm very passionate about women in business, and I'm excited to have a career and to be able to have the opportunity. So I'm always looking for strong women to learn from and share their experiences. So I thought this was just an amazing group of people to share their experiences with everyone else. And I also think another good thing about this is that you get to learn more about them and then just feel like you have a friend in the room, whether you're a woman or a man. I personally really enjoyed the Women in Tech happy hour when I first joined Nanog, and that was a good way to see these women throughout the week and feel more comfortable. So I hope other people can learn more about them. So anyway, that's enough about me. I'll let Alex introduce herself and kind of share more about her.
Thank you, thank you. Awesome seeing everyone here. Wow, this is loud. I'm Alex. I'm a networking specialist solutions architect with AWS, Amazon Web Services. I've been doing networking for almost 16 years now, and it was really funny because yesterday we had the IPv6 clinic, and my co-presenter, who's also a networking specialist, he shared he's been in networking for 30 more years, and I'm like, wow, you've been in networking double the time I've been. So it was really cool. It's been a ride so far. Really happy to be here with you all today and share a bit about my journey.
Cool. And then Bhavna, if you want to go next.
Okay. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Bhavna. I work with Aurelion, and I have been in telecom industry for 20 plus years now, and this is my 10th year at Nanog. It's been a really great journey, I would say. Like when I started, there were like very, very few females in technology. Myself, I was the only one in a team of 30 males, and now we've come, we have over 3-4 females in our team. So I think we have grown a lot. We have a lot of representation. So I'm happy to share something out of my journey today. Happy to be here among all of you.
Hi, I'm Yolandi. I'm the interconnection community and academy manager for DKIX, and I have been in the industry for close to a decade. It sounds a lot. I've spent most of my time doing hands-on networking stuff, so deployments, doing some networking basic troubleshooting and that kind of thing. I'm very passionate about it. I think it's a great industry to be in, and I think it's needed to get more people involved and excited about it. So I'm very excited to share that with people. And like you say, having more females in the industry is great because you don't feel lonely. But there are amazing people in the industry already, even sitting in our audience today. So yeah, looking forward to this panel.
Hi, my name is Lucy Ye. Dating myself now. I've been in the industry close to 25 years. Started off in support, and then now I lead a team for partner sales. So I'm a senior director at Megaport, a NAS company, and I've loved my journey throughout my life, from data center all the way to telecom, all the way now to NAS. So thank you for having me, and I appreciate the ability to share my journey through this wonderful group of people.
My name is Erin Geiger. I work for Aurelion. I'm an account director. I've been in telecom for a little over a decade. It's my second career. I worked in commercial vehicle management before I got into telecom. I sell IP backbone, and I've been doing that for about 6 years now.
Hi, my name is Lamar Jones, and I'm with Spark New Zealand. I've been in the industry for about 30 years now, so aging myself. I am the only international employee for my company and have been there for 23 years this 19th of February, will be. I've always worked in a switch room, and when I say switch room, I started off as a Nortel DMS switch technician, you know, actual voice and all that stuff. So that's where my background started. I've transitioned from voice to VoIP to internet and et cetera, but now I do just about everything except sales. And any questions you have, I would be happy to share.
I'm Clara Wade. I'm with AWS at the IP address strategy and acquisitions team. I've been coming to Nanox since 2018, I believe. And I feel like I am in a very cool situation because in my team, 2/3 of the team are women. It's also a pretty diverse team. And my manager is a woman. And I definitely reap the benefits of that. So yeah, happy to be here.
Thank you, everyone. This is my third Nanog, so I'm pretty new to the community, and I'm super excited to be able to do this and meet you guys. I hope to sit in your spot one day and say I've been here for 30 years or 16 years and make all the wonderful friends. I actually met Lucy one time through my coworker Brooke, and we got dinner together, and she introduced me to a bunch of people. So it's such a great community, and I'm super thankful to be a part of it, and I'm excited to keep coming. But yeah, let's get started on the panel. I would like to start with Limor. I know you asked me not to start with you, but I know about your career, and I think you have such an amazing story to share. So how did you start your career, and how did you progress, and what made you interested in voice? And for everyone else, just maybe talking about your background and what made you interested in networking would be cool.
So when I started off, I was actually, my major was accounting, which had nothing to do with this, but it's numbers. But I was hired on as just a secretary administrator in a switch room for Star Telecom back in the day. Room full of men, working in a switch room, Nortel DMS and all DAX, you know, all the good stuff, wiring. Well, I started shadowing them and just started asking questions, learning the DMS, learning how to wire. Anything in the switch room, I asked and I learned. And within 6 months, I became a Tech 3. So they sent me to Nortel school to just get certified, just to make it official, but Tech 3. Within 3 years, I was recruited to Etchnet, and I was one of the first people to do VoIP. So did that for 3 years, and then the current company that I'm in hired me on. I built their VoIP network from scratch by myself, ground up, until we finally, this was Cisco 5850 at the time, and then we finally transitioned to the Veraz soft switch, and I handed it off to operations. And then from there, I transitioned to internet and data. About 10 years ago, my company decided to let go of everybody in the US and only kept me. So I wear many hats: network acquisition, network architect, just everything except sales, literally everything. I'm not kidding. I get the mail and I write my own specs. I do the installs. I deal with everything outside New Zealand. My company's based in New Zealand. They're the incumbent. I deal with Australia, all of Asia, and the US, and anything else that they need me to do. But it's been interesting. I've always worked with male-dominant, males in my. I'm always the only woman in the switch room. But I have to say, all the men have been so supportive throughout the years. I can't even express how supportive they've been and how much I've learned, and the respect I received from. I basically made myself indispensable by learning everything, and the respect I've earned has been amazing. And just coming here, it's been really, it's just rewarding, and I love every aspect of it. I love, even today, I still troubleshoot and test and do whatever needs to be done. I keep growing and keep learning, and I love this industry, so yeah.
Thank you. That's such a cool story. She was telling me that she was telling a friend that you started as an admin. They were like, oh, we didn't know that. And I just think that's such a cool career trajectory. Alex, do you want to share how you started?
Yeah, for sure. So back in Romania, I'm originally from Romania. There's a pretty big culture of, we were laughing yesterday at the happy hour, hustling. So people try to get ahead and do things and kind of get away from pretty widespread poverty at the time. So I went into computer science, inspired slash forced by my parents. And as I was going through university, first year, I was like, oh my God, I hate programming. Like, what am I gonna do? And I hated it not from the fact that I wasn't able to write code. I was able to write very good, mediocre code. So I was like, I'm never gonna be great at this. So I started looking on the left and right of programming, and I discovered the Cisco trainings, like IT Essentials and CCNA. I was like, this might be something that I could be very good at, not just mediocre. So yeah, I went through that. I did an internship with one of the carriers back in Romania in their core IP team. So I learned a lot, but after 3 months in that internship, it was my third year of university. I was like, Don, I want to get hired. Like, I want to work here in this team. Mind you, team that had like only senior people that have been in the industry for like 20 years at the time. And the manager was like, so Alex, I think you need to go back to school and like learn more, and then we'll figure it out. And I took this as this sign that I gotta go and like prove to that team that they should take me on and be part of that team. So I went through all the Cisco certifications. I took my CCIE. I started working for a consulting company back in Romania, a French company for Bouygues Telecom in France. And then the manager of that team, who at the time had become a director, he was like, so Alex, do you want to come back? And I was like, I think I've proven my point. Yes, this is great. But I chose differently. So I started working with AWS in Dublin, deploying data center infrastructure. Life was very interesting. So I had to go back home due to personal reasons. And that's how my cloud networking journey started. I started working with Adobe back in Romania in the architecture team. Essentially put the basis of the Adobe backbone for cloud connectivity with AWS. And yeah, that's how I got to move from Romania to San Francisco, where I'm currently based, and be a solutions architect in networking. And to what you had shared a bit earlier, I am super grateful to all the men in my life, because I felt all the time being encouraged to do all the things that I was doing. I never felt like they were trying to put me down, or I didn't have any negative experiences. But to plus one another thing that you mentioned, I've always tried, and I keep doing that. I don't know how good it is, though, to make myself indispensable, to do all the things that I needed to do to kind of all the time get out of my comfort zone, try to solve problems, and make myself a core member of the team. So yeah, really, really exciting to be here, joined by you, and hear your stories, which are great, and yeah, sharing more.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, we can just keep going down the line.
I don't know, where do I start? So is in India, if you're a good student and if you're a boy, you end up doing engineering. If you're a girl, you're good in studies, you end up becoming a doctor. So I was good at math and science, so I ended up doing STEM, like, engineering. So I did my engineering and I did my master's in telecom. And that's where I learned how to maneuver this male-dominating world of engineering and the tech basically. So when I landed a job, my first day, I would share this experience. I was first day at my job, and I was given, like, 2 men came up to me. I was given a big coil of a cable, a crimping tool, and I was asked to make like 48, which is like four dozen of patch cables. So I was all day, I was cutting the cables, crimping it, putting the RJ45. That was my first day. And I was like, fine. I mean, it's like bros. They never treated me like a female or a women in the team or a lady in the team. No. They'll be like, okay, come on, let's go out for lunch. Come on, let's go out for like a happy hour and all. So that's how I was treated, and I just grew there. And I must tell you, like, I've always got like extremely good support from my male mentors, my male colleagues. I've never felt, looked down upon or anything like that. But as far as my career goes, that's where I started. I started my career in telecom 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, in India. That's where I worked. I was fortunate enough to work with all the leading companies. And I've worked in the length and breadth of telecom. I was a network engineer. I was a project manager implementing all the DS1, Metro Ethernet, fiber, the beginning of fiber optics. Then moved to relationship management. I've done enterprise, wholesale. I've done voice also for 5 years. And I'm here now. I work as a solution engineer, so doing a little bit of everything now, designing and all. And I had a team also here with bright solution engineers, which are, like, of course, older to me. All of them, they have such a great experience. I learn a lot from them. And that's how I am here. Very happy. Thank you.
So when I started coming into the job market, obviously I just left high school. And my mother was like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. Because in South Africa, I'm from South Africa, usually the thing is either you become a teacher, a doctor, or admin is kind of the options, the general options. And at that time, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. So I started au pairing, so watching someone's kids. And at some point, I realized I need to start gaining some kind of office experience, because obviously if you want to step into a corporate job, they are going to ask you, what kind of experience do you have? And I had none. So I went to the father of these kids and I said to him, listen, I'm going to have to start looking for it sounds bad, an actual job. And he was sad, but he said he understood. The next day, when I got to his house, he said to me, I don't want you to leave. So what I've done is I want you to work for me. And I'm like, but I am. Little did I know, he was the owner of one of the largest data centers in South Africa. And he got me in as a marketing intern, because also at that point, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I wanted to work. So I started as a marketing intern. So I was picking up the phones. My main job was basically to make tea and coffee for the clients coming in, going into meetings with our teams at the data center. And that's how I got to know a lot of people, obviously, because I'm front desk. And from there, the company was quite small, so we were kind of in between business development and technical. And in that time, I would get bored a lot. So I would start asking the network engineer, what are you doing? Because his screen had numbers and stuff, and I had no clue what he's doing. It looks like a movie. So I wanted to know, what is he doing? And he started introducing me to what he's doing. He was the network engineer for NAP Africa, which is now the largest internet exchange point. At that time, we only had, I think, 50 members. But it was so exciting. And the more I got to learn from him, the more I wanted to do more. And within a year, they took me on into the team. And from there, I kind of became like a peering coordinator, peering specialist, and just grew from there. So my role involved, having technical conversations with the same people that came in who I made coffee for. I was leading the meetings. So it was so nice when they walked in and they were actually there to see me. So it was such a nice evolvement. But as you mentioned, the people in the industry has been so supportive, not only within the company, but in the wider community. Once I started going out to conferences and presenting and getting to talk to more people, they are so willing to teach you. And even now, You know, people are so open to help you and get involved and are just as excited about things. So that's basically how my journey started. I did not picture I would be here. My mother still doesn't know what I do, but I'm here. So yeah, that's been my journey so far.
Well, let's see, how did I get started? My memory goes these days. All right, so I actually have a fashion degree. I did not think I ever was going to be in technology. I'm like, what is this thing? One day I realized that I was probably getting paid less than how much it costs in gas to get to my work. And I was good at fashion design. I won awards, all this stuff. But the thing about life is you realize you need money to survive. You need money to feed your kids. And so all of a sudden, a friend of mine next door, he's an electrician. And it's like, we're building this thing called data center. Do you want to, come and see if you want to find a job? Like, sure. So he takes me to his boss, made friends with the boss, really nice guy, still really one of my best friends, supported people in life, took a chance on me, said, I'm going to shop you around the whole company. We're going to find you a job. I said, okay, let's do it. And so for the whole day, I interviewed with the technology team, the sales team, the operations, and at that point, I ended up in operations, essentially helping sales with deployment. And that was during the bomb, like when they said the bomb went off, like the internet bomb. I'm like, cool. Like I got to like plug things in, meet people, just soaked it all in. And so at that point in life, I realized I really liked money, and thus I saw all my salespeople making lots of money. And I'm like, I could do that. I can like make people, make things happen with people, make connections. And I realized, long as I soaked up the energy, soaked up the technology, and then be able to present it to somebody, I was going to have a good career in this life. And since then, I've worked in data centers, I've worked in transit. Now I run, or not run, but run the partnership program at Megaport. And the reason I chose NAS is I just thought it was the coolest thing that I can get like 100 gigs in 60 seconds. That was like the coolest thing to me in technology as it moved. And so what I try to do to give back is what people gave me, was an opportunity to learn. No judgment, no, and it's been men and women in general. I mean, when Packet Fabric was the last NAS company I started, it was the people here that started that company. This community gave me my chances of being able to do what I do. They brought me back. I built, and I get a little teary-eyed because I was able to bring back to a team of people, young people. And I remember I almost did cry when one of my people said, Lucy, my commission check just paid off my student loan completely. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I made a difference. And it's been, I think that's my favorite part of life now, is to be able to bring younger people to the next level. So thank you for helping me be able to share my experience.
I started off after college working for Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I moved over to the commercial leasing division, did that for about a decade, and then realized I was over vehicles, I needed to get out of leasing, and I wanted to get into something different. My best girlfriend of 25 years, now 25 years, was working for a now defunct CLEC that is, or was based here in Atlanta, and she was literally parking her vehicle, knocking on doors, and cold calling all day. And she said, well, what do you think about this? And I'm like, well, I've been in sales for a long time. I don't know about this cold calling thing. So I did a walk-through or a walk-on with that with another team member. I was like, I can do this. So started selling T1s in Inglewood, California. Would park my car by LAX, knocked on doors, and was selling, one call closes, right? Walk in, sell the customer, walk off, and have it installed. Started there, and then I worked for an agency for a little while, and the attractive part of that was being able to sell every carrier to the customers that you would find. So it was still a hunting role, going out and finding the opportunity and bringing those providers to that customer. I ended up working as a channel manager, doing some hosted voice. We did that for a few years. and then realized like I've changed jobs more times in the last 5 or 6 years than I did for my entire first decade out of college. So took some time off to see what I wanted to do, and a very dear friend of mine who I would call my mentor called me and he said, look, we were partners, we were referral partners, we competed against each other when he was at another CLEC. He goes, I want you to come and work for me. So I'll teach you everything that you need to know. Come and work for me. And I did for a couple of years and was selling IP backbone. I landed at Aurelion, formerly Telia, about 3 years ago, and I could not count myself as more fortunate. This company is unbelievable. The people are incredible. The support that I get from management, from my coworkers, from our incredible engineers. I kind of say my job is to use my loud voice to get in the door and have the smart people come and explain what we're doing. Oh, I love that. So the company is fantastic. I've had really wonderful people that I've worked with over the years, and having Diana have come into this community so recently and just guns ablazing, like, we're going to get a women's panel together. It's the first time that this has been done. I mean, I can't tell you how grateful I am to you to really put this together for everybody. It's really phenomenal. In the 3 years that I've been coming to NANOG, I've seen the amount of women grow coming to these shows, and it's a testament to the hard work I think that other women on this panel are doing to really recruit some fantastic people. So.
So I'm originally from Argentina. I did my undergrad in communications and was in Buenos Aires working for a small comms agency. And I got a job at a startup in the fintech space that was dealing a lot with domain names. But around that time, they started seeing a lot of IP address transactions. And as the newbie, I kind of, got tossed that one to figure it out. And because I had less accounts, I had the time to be like, okay, let's see what's going on, because also compliance did not like it. And so it was a very interesting time, learning a lot about address policy, who the stakeholders in this market are, and all the RIRs. And I was at this company's headquarters in San Francisco, and a NANOG meeting happened to be there. And so I came out, and as Kelly Sieben describes it, it is summer camp for nerds. And as a nerd, I found a huge sense of community there, and then at all the RIR meetings as well. It was awesome. And to echo what Yolandi said, my friends say I'm the Chandler Bing of the group. And they often have competitions about who can remember my title. And it was at that NANOG meeting that I actually met Amy Potter, who a few years later messaged me like, hey, there's an opening in my team. Would you be curious to apply? I did, and I joined. And as I mentioned earlier, we're a team with 2/3 women and also a woman as a manager. And it's really, really cool. There's Tina.
Awesome. Thank you all for sharing. And you guys can understand why I picked these women. They're so amazing. And you guys all have such cool stories to share. And I'm excited to be a part of this. I just kind of heard a theme here that you guys all have really good mentors that have brought you up. And for me personally, one example of a mentor I remember is at my first internship, I had a manager who forced me to speak up at meetings. I'm a very anxious girly, and I hate saying the wrong thing. So him doing that for me really helped me build up my confidence. So that's just a specific example I remember from my experience. But outside of what you've already mentioned, has there been other experiences where someone has brought you up that you want to highlight just for other people to kind of get inspiration from? We have a lot of other new talent coming in to the industry, and it would be, I think, really cool for people to learn about.
So I feel I was sharing my story, and I mentioned that from Romania I kind of landed in San Francisco. There was another stopover on the path to San Francisco. It was a year in Canada because I got the job in AWS on in March 2020. So visas, guess what? They were no longer processed. So Canada was my saving grace, and I stayed there for a year working with AWS. And then I moved as an internal transfer to San Francisco, and I feel like I owe this to two really, really important people for me personally in AWS. My director at the time, Shaun, and the person whom I've kind of stepped into the role of as a networking specialist, Justin. They both really believed in me, and they kind of convinced my future manager that he should hire me and he should do all these things with immigration and waiting and talking to lawyers and dealing with the visa stuff instead of just hiring absolutely someone else. And yeah, I feel like without them, probably I wouldn't be here talking to you folks. And the fact that they've seen in me the potential, most likely more than anything, was really important. So yeah, I'm super grateful that they took the bet and they were like, let's do this. Let's bring her here.
I also have like some experience to share here. So I'm curious by nature and I love challenges, but I always need that kick in the back. And my mentors have always been to kick me in the back. No, you have to do it. And if you see my the whole career, like, I started as a network engineer in a small RF, like, the radio frequency, the wireless. Then I picked up enterprise, then I picked up voice I knew nothing about, and trading minutes and all of that. So this all came up like, a little push from my mentors, and then, of course, the curiosity or, they just to take up the challenges. So that's what I would say. Like, if you have that little grit of like, let me do something different, do it. Just do it. You'll excel. And I think as a women, we do have like the strength to take up the challenges more than the male. Don't get offended, please. But I think we have more resilience in ourselves, just being like, the way we are constructed by God. Just take up those challenges, and you will find beautiful results. That's I have learned from my career and life so far.
Yeah, I think, like I mentioned, I see a lot of people in the industry as mentors. They may not know it, but I do. And I feel that the support that I've been given throughout the years, the opportunities and stuff, has been from these mentors, even though they don't know it. I do feel that some of them have pushed me into positions because they just want to retire or step down. And just wanted to give it off to someone else. But I'm very grateful for the opportunity, because that has forced me to really, push the limit to what I can do and actually learn more and get to engage with more people. And I really look up to a lot of people in the industry, so it's really hard to pinpoint specific people. But of course, coming back to where I started, the two engineers that I worked closely with, they taught me everything that I know. They introduced me to this. So I'm very grateful for them giving me the opportunity, because I can be annoying. I know it doesn't look like it, but I can be. So I'm grateful for them having the patience and, the willingness to teach me and take me as far as I've gone in the industry.
Let's see. Well, that first guy at the data center, that's like, okay, let's shop you around. We like you. Actually, he's probably one of my good friends that really took a chance on a girl with a fashion degree that had nothing to know about anything in technology. But having that open mindset and really helped. Also, I found Jezebel. I think many of you probably know Jezebel. She is really a core product of this community and how open. When I met her, she's like, I'm building this thing called NAS, and like, do you want to be a part of it? And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And really, I want to help. I think it's really important to find the people that support you as much as you can support them. It's brilliant to chase money, chase technology, but really having a good team with your boss or immediate reporter or the person that you're reporting to is really being supportive of you, and then you're supporting them for their goals. I think that is the key to really what's gotten me to the next level and the next level, because they start thinking for you. I left Packet Fabric for a while, and then Jezebel came back and said, you know, you're really good at this mentoring thing. You're really good at building a team. Come back and build a team that supports everything. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And it really taking she helped me step to that next level. I always thought I was an individual contributor. I didn't think that I could or manage or really build teams. And now it's all about, and that's all I want to do. So.
I've been fortunate enough to have, men and women in the industry who have pushed me, who have guided me and have taught me. Imposter syndrome is a real thing. I experience that all the time. And my boss, Wes, said to me, he was like, nobody knows that you are feeling that way. You know what you're talking about. And it was so important to hear that from somebody who's been in the industry for a very long time, who's very well respected in the industry and with our company, and having him give me that other boost of confidence, even though I've, done this for over a decade. Just like, I always feel like, did I answer that question right? Did I say that correctly? And he's like, yeah, you know what you're talking about. Nobody else knows, nobody is gonna doubt you. So having someone to push you and to give you that accolade when you may feel a little down on yourself or feel like you don't know what you're talking about is really fantastic. So I'm very lucky to have my current boss who is very supportive of my career.
I don't know if I actually had an actual mentor, but it's just support that I've had all around me. I'll give you a funny and not so funny story. When I was first hired on to Star Telecom as an admin, about a year after I was hired on, the person that interviewed me at the time told me that he hired me because at the time of my interview I had open-toe shoes and he liked my feet. So, but within that year that I worked there, because I learned, I'm not a joke, it's real. But within the year, I learned I earned his respect. And it wasn't about open-toe shoes anymore. It was Lamore knows what she's talking about. And what the guys would love is whenever we had meetings with anybody, any vendor or customer, they would come into the conference room, and me being the only woman in there, they always assumed I was a secretary, and the guys knew that. So the people would start talking, and then I would respond, and they would all look at me like, "Why are you letting the secretary talk?" Well, she's the one with the brain, and the support that they would always give me just made me feel more confident about myself. So I wouldn't feel like the imposter, syndrome, basically. They gave me the confidence continuously. Anything I wanted to do, I can literally walk and switch anything today. I can splice, I can wire, I can do power, I can install, I can configure, I can anything, literally anything. And it's because of support. Nobody ever said, no, don't do that. No, you're a woman. No, don't. It was just, you're good. You're putting the effort in. I never let anything, I wouldn't take no for an answer. And also, working in this environment, especially in the switch room, a lot of work was thrown at me that I didn't even know what it was. I mean, the internet didn't exist when I started. So it was thrown at me. And a lot of the guys would say, well, Lamore gets all the work. No, you say no. I say yes. Even though I don't know it, you guys out there, somebody knows it. And I made good friends, so I can call somebody and, oh, can you help me out? And learn or figure it out somehow. But I never expected anything to be handed to me, or I learned, and I keep learning till today. Today I'm constantly learning from all of you guys. So you guys are all my mentors, basically, and I appreciate it. This is NANOG, all of this. It's a great environment. We're a small community, believe it or not. We might feel like we're big, but we're small. I see everybody all the time. You guys, the same people all the time, kind of same companies. But we're supportive of each other, and that's why we keep growing. And to be up here, it's a big testament. So yeah.
So I was lucky that every manager I've had is the opposite of a micromanager, and as you said, they instill a lot of confidence in you, and that is super empowering. But because I've already talked about day job, I would give a shout out to the volunteers at NANOG. We're pretty well represented at the board right now, which is great to see. And Jonathan, our managing director, is a great advocate for women at Nanog. And yeah, I would say we're lucky enough that in this community there are a lot of mentors, a lot of people that are very much here to pass on the knowledge that they have, and it's a super valuable community to be a part of.
Thanks for sharing. I like more how you said that it seems like a small community, even though it's a big community. I feel like the first time I came here and I looked at the registrants list and it was like 700 people, I was so shocked. I was like, oh my gosh, like how am I even gonna go into this? But then now this is my third Nanog. I see familiar faces and it honestly feels like a smaller community and everyone's super supportive, super open. So I agree, it's been a really good experience. Bhavna, you mentioned challenges. Can you start us off and kind of share some of the challenges you faced, and or maybe just one, and how that shaped your career, and then the rest of us can share as well.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of challenges. I don't know. It shaped my career, but yes, those challenges gave me strength to pick the right thing. I would say, like, for as a woman, there are many, many challenges. You start from the pay. For a male and a female, there is a disparity. You have to deal with that. So I learned it during my, initially in my career, I switched jobs because I wanted to learn more, do more. And then I found out that there is a difference. So I learned a negotiation skill over there. Then, so that's how, negotiating your offer over and over, and always bringing it in a way that I bring something, I have an edge over the other, the persons you're looking for the job. So that was, and being a woman, it was difficult for me to convince, even when I was talking to a woman on the other side. So that was one of the big challenges that I faced. The other challenges were, no, I would not say, because I am from STEM, I dealt with it, long working hours in the tech industry. That was all fine with me. I was mentally prepared for it because I wasn't coming from anywhere else. I was coming from that science and the STEM background, so it all came all fine. The one was that where I had to learn, and I maneuvered. Hopefully, I haven't changed my job in the last 10 years, so I don't know if my negotiation skills are perfect. But I have a wonderful team I work with. I have such wonderful colleagues and managers and everybody I work with. Even the customers I work with, I've developed a good relationship with them. So it feels I'm too comfortable in what I'm doing. Need to kick another.
Thank you. Alex, do you have any?
You want to add something?
Yeah, I feel like I was listening to your question and I was listening to Bhavna and I was like, are these what challenges do I can think of? And I think all of the things that came at me in this life so far, in this professional life so far, including getting a new job right in the pandemic, I've seen them as not necessarily as it's like a push. If one door seems to be closing, for sure another door opens. And I think probably one of the most interesting ones in my career was when I had been working in the data center space for quite a long time, almost 10 years at the time. And I was faced with this role that meant doing cloud networking. And I'm like, wait, what? My manager at the time told me, oh, hey, you used to work with AWS, right? You definitely know VPCs and transit gateways. And I'm like, wait, no, I never opened the console. And they're like, oh, no, everything's automated. I'm like, oh, my God. So I kind of had to go through a quick baseline of what is AWS and what is VPC and what is all of this virtual thing that I have no idea about. Where's my BGP session? And why can't I show IP route and all that stuff? But I think it was probably one of the most important things that happened to me, and I'm super grateful for it. And now as I talk to people who are still in the data center world and they're thinking, oh, how do I get to know more about how this virtual fake networking, quote unquote, works. I think it's really interesting. There's a lot of parallels to the classical networking, but it's really challenging as well because it's a mindset change and it's an adaptation, I guess, that you need to take on. So, yeah, that was probably one of my biggest ones.
You can pass if you don't have one.
So for me, I think my personal challenge is to keep up with everything. Guys, can we just slow down with technology? To try and keep up with all the new things that are coming out, the new terms being used, the new ways of doing things. I always, like you mentioned with the imposter syndrome, like, do I understand it? Like, do I know what I'm talking about? Like, do I really grasp what is being said? I feel like that is still my challenge. And all I can do is really try and educate myself and have like hallway conversations, like just like, guys, what are we talking about? Like, just so I can keep up with what is happening. I think, that's like I said, that I think that is like the main challenge, is just for me to understand where everything fits in. But once you get it, everything just makes sense. But then there's something new, and you have to go back to square one. But yeah, like I said, it's nice to have these conversations, and I think this is where the NOGs and peering forums and everything comes in handy, because you pick up things easier than it is sitting at home trying to learn it from theory. Because I feel like there's sometimes a big disconnect as to what it's said in theory versus what is actually happening.
So, like I think you said, I don't see challenges, I just see them bumps. I just have to figure out how to get through that bump and the next bump and the next bump. But typically, I think, as a woman, I will have to say, I want to be that perfect person for everybody. That person needs this from me. This person needs this from me. This person needs from. I need to. For me, it was a balance between where's my limits. I have limits as a person with time issue, just in general, and family. And so for me to kind of go in, because they can completely suck everything out of you, and when it's like time, okay, this is not a part of my skill level right now, and it doesn't need to be. Do I, and negotiation, like you said, is a thing that we work with every day. As a woman, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to be sexist here, there is a lot where our natural brains just want to take care of everybody. Where is our line? Where's that border? But,
Well, to pick up on that, there's a lot of times where I will go outside of my scope to do something, whether it's for a company or a customer or a coworker. I can take care of that. Let me help you. Let me, like you said, want to take care of people, right? Want to make sure that if someone needs something, I want to be able to help. I want to be that helpful person. I want to be reliable for that person or for somebody. So if they can see me as a,
resource.
Exactly, a resource for something. But then there are times I just need to like sit back and go, okay, you can be self-sufficient. You too are an adult. I can teach you once, or I can help you walk through it again. And knowing when to draw the line. I think another challenge is on the sales side of things, I know my product very well. It's learning each individual customer's needs and exactly what they're using my product for. What do they need? What is the nature of it? Do they need 3 times what they're telling me they do? Do they need way less than what they're telling me they need, right? So it's being that expert, but at the same time learning what the nuances are for each individual customer. I think that's really important to be, reputable and I don't want to say it, not a sleazy salesperson.
For me, kind of like what you said, Lucy, some people know my backstory, but I'm a single mother of 2 boys, and the father's not in the picture at all. So it wasn't like I got to hand off the boys on the weekends or every other week, none of that happened. So my challenge was basically trying to keep my work. I wanted to be good at everything, and I wanted to keep progressing and succeeding with still having 2 kids, and I don't want to neglect anything. So putting myself first has been my biggest challenge till today. I don't know how to put myself first. I put my work first, put my kids first, and make sure everything's always 100% for them. It's me. It's looking at me. That's my challenge, putting myself first in life, which I think a lot of women have a hard time with. In this industry, I feel because it is obviously more male dominant, I always felt like I had to do more and more to prove myself, to get the respect. So that's, to me, that's the challenge.
So at a previous job, I think because of the whole like people pleasing and struggling to set boundaries, that I feel like, yes, it comes with being a woman, but also probably being younger in my career. I found myself in a lot of situations where perhaps I wasn't getting the credit I should have been getting for the work I was doing. And that is something that I've learned over time, also thanks to now having really good mentors in that space, but also because the company also has a mechanism where you're forced to persistently keep track of your achievements, what can you do better, and your projects and your progress. And so I feel like having that as well as good mentors to help you advocate for yourself and be confident about your achievements is super important.
For sure. Thank you for sharing that. You guys are so resilient, and I'm inspired by you. I'm sure everyone else is as well. Lucy, you're really good at this. A lot of people that have met Lucy are like, oh my gosh, she's like the life of the party. Everyone knows her. She's really good at networking. Do you have any advice of, how you did that? Is there like certain tricks that you have, or
Alcohol?
I'm really kidding. Okay.
yeah, if you could share, and then I'm sure others have experiences as well.
There's always music playing in my head. I try to bounce around and make sure that everybody has a good time while I'm learning from everybody. I go in trying to learn from somebody. I want also people to connect with each other. I think the more people connect with each other, understand we're a community, and I'm not solely by myself here. We are, women, men, everybody. And to make sure that everybody is really, when people talk to each other, special things happen. And I think people learn from each other. So really trying to get everybody talking. That's my way of networking.
I would say staying curious, and also, as Mr. Rogers said, find the helpers. It's a really good way to learn a lot, and also if you can become a helper yourself, it's super, super cool.
I think what also helps is do not look at people as titles, but as people. That has helped me a lot because sometimes, guys, and this happens a lot, don't judge, but sometimes I make a fool of myself talking to someone, just being myself, and then afterwards my team would be, did you know that is the CTO of blah, blah, and I'm like, oh my God. But they are just people, and I think for them, it's also about don't treat me as the title, talk to me as a person, and that's how I personally approach it.
Same. I'm just like you. I look to make personal relationships, not business relationships. I want to get to know you. I don't do small talk well at all, but I do like, I'm just not good at it, but I do like to actually get to know the person. I don't really care what your title is, what you do. I want to know the person, and within that friendship, business will happen. But you guys are my family. I consider you guys my second family, especially I work from home, so I have no office environment. My office is in New Zealand. It's far. To get there, it's a 15-hour flight. So I look forward to these conferences. You guys are my family, and I really so yeah, it's more about the personal relationships that I make in business. So yeah.
Well, I would like to add, networking could be intimidating for a lot of us. Have a purpose in your mind. Like, why are you coming here? Why you want to come and talk to people? And that will open up the conversations, and that's how, it's like one way of addressing, how you can deal with other people. You can be yourself, but if you have something in your mind, you have an aim, that's also another way of dealing with it.
I would add that for me, at least, it matters a lot to be passionate about what you're doing and to like what you're doing. I feel for the folks of you who've spoken to me or we've spoken about IPv6, you guys can understand what that looks like. And I feel like if I go into a conversation with a smile on my face and I keep the positive view on whatever we're talking about, things get all of a sudden 10 times easier. Like if I would go into a meeting and I'd be like, and I have meetings literally back to back probably my entire day. My role is to talk to customers and to talk to people and try to solve their problems one way or another. So yeah, if I would go into a meeting and be like super grumpy and begrudging and be like, oh my God, this product doesn't work and this architecture, what is going on? I think would be much harder. But if you go with a smile on your face and you're like, yeah, sure, let's talk about this, let's find a solution. And at the end of the day, solutions are a lot. So yeah, it's a better positive way of looking at things.
Have any questions for our panel? Please go up to the microphone, identify yourself and your organization.
Okay. Hello. Hi. So, Raylan Wolf, I'm at Sienna, and my question is, oftentimes women speak with, they like to say with a lot of emotion, I say with a lot of passion. So have you ever had to dim down your tone so that you can talk to people in your group so they listen to you better, or do you let yourself speak with that passion?
I think it's a mix, right? It's like know your audience, right? Like if yeah, it's a mix. If I'm a very outgoing, bubbly person at work, believe it or not, at home, I am like homebody. I like lock me away in my room with a book, like I'm fine by myself, quiet.
Totally.
It just really depends. But in an environment like this, coming to these events, I absolutely thrive speaking to people, unless it's 8 o'clock and then I go to bed. But it really truly is who are you speaking to, and I guess what the topic may be, right?
I'm on all 24/7, all the time. I might cry in front of you. I might slap you. No, I'm kidding. Yes, I reflect the audience. So it's really reading the room and being able to kind of put a little humor into it. Relaxes everybody. But yeah.
I would say, I don't know if it's contrary, but I would say sometimes, like, as a woman, you are emotional a lot of times, when, and it can come out in a room full of like 10 people, it can come out, but I think humor is what I have found is a way of mellowing it down, or maybe come up with something crazy technical, so everyone just keep guessing, okay, what next? So either distract them or confuse them. That's the way of handling your emotions.
I would plus one the know your audience. At the same time, I feel like you start by I start by reflecting the audience and being like, okay, let's sort of level set on this. And then like if you crack a joke and then they don't react, you're like, okay, I'm good. That was I tried. You couldn't do it. But if they start laughing and then they crack their own joke, you kind of build from there. So I think, yeah, try it.
I would add that we're not robots. And so sometimes, yeah, you can get passionate about things, and it's okay to express how you feel, obviously, in a professional environment. But also, I feel like emotional intelligence is an asset in any negotiation situation, and being able to read your audience, as people have expressed here, is super, super powerful.
All right, thank you.
Hi, I'm Kelly Steven from DKIX. And first off, I just want to say I love how much laughter and how many smiles are coming from this stage. I really approve of that message. But my question is, we all want more women to come into this industry. Do you guys have any actionable items for the people in this room, men, women, anyone involved that you think could help us get either more women or more young people into our industry? Because it's awesome, and I want to invite more people in. Oh, good people. So what do you guys suggest?
I can start. So I have the privilege of actually speaking at some high schools and doing STEM or week or also just in general. And they keep inviting us back. I don't know why. But essentially speaking to the younger audience and female, male, and just letting them know it's not that intimidating because kids at high school level right now is like, I gotta get the A, I gotta get this high ass, excuse my language, degree. And you just, if you can see it, you can be it. I love that saying because you don't know what's out there until somebody speaks to you really about how you do things. And simple things like the internet's actually connected physically. You're like, wow, that's the coolest thing in the world. And so inspiring the younger kids is what I would say. Get in local communities, being able to hit the next generation, not as an authoritative, but just sharing your experience has really helped me help that next generation.
I would say 100% plus one to that because I'm a result of that. Like if I wouldn't have had the opportunity in college to learn that there's such thing as CCNA, one and someone who's teaching networking, and like I went and I took those classes, I wouldn't have ever probably discovered that I love this. I would have been a very mediocre, miserable programmer that would have written lousy code. So yeah, I would say it all starts in school and getting a more diverse audience exposed to what networking means and what infrastructure means and what's an IP at the end of the day. So yeah.
I kind of agree with it starts in school, but my approach would be different because kids want to become what TikTok stars are. And I think the way to reach it is to, like you say, talk about networking and what it is on a platform that relates to the younger generation. Because what I've seen is that, they want to become this fancy title like cloud engineer or software developer, the things that are out there that seems cool. Not understanding that, guys, when this room retires, there will not be a TikTok, there will not be Instagram, so getting them excited about where it all started and educating them on what the fun, are we having fun, guys? I just want to check because I'm having fun. So to get them excited about it, and I think there's like a handful of people really putting in the effort to make the videos or the content on social media platforms, and that has picked up quite an audience, and more people are interested to know more. And I think that's a way to tap into the younger generation because to go to school is cool, but they'll look at you like, oh, this is someone's mom talking to me. The cool mom. But I think to talk to them directly, to say, in content they can actually understand and it relates to them, could be the key to actually get them interested in what we do.
Okay, so we should do some cool choreographies of like
TikTok dances. What is network engineering?
Well, but the schools though, my kids graduated pretty recently from high school. The issue I have with all the programs they have, they only make it available for the AP student. It shouldn't be. It should start a lot younger, and it should have labs. Hands-on is key to a lot of things. Theoretical doesn't work for a lot of kids. It's whatever, what's the cloud? Well, walk into a data center. A field trip should be to a data center instead of, a museum. Something like more so they can actually see it, feel it, touch it. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't be just for the elites. It should be for everybody, and that's how I think how we can get more women in there.
I'll just add to that, maybe like, have them hands-on experience, like, give them a small task. Instead of just learning about it, experiencing it will make them excited about it. And especially with the girls, we have to make it more cool with them too. Like being a nerd is fine, you're cool, you're still cool. You just don't have to be a TikTok star or an Instagram, star. Coding is also as cool as being a star or in dramatics.
You can be both, I'm just saying.
And you can be both, yeah.
We actually hired on influencer. She's got like 90
Ooh,
whatever
Lexus.
K. Yeah, Lexus. I love her. And she just simplified. Her actual tag is simplifying tech. And she's like a structural something engineer, scientific engineer that ended up at Cisco and then now works for us as an influencer. But she's hitting that generation. They're getting it. And it's little pieces, bites of information. And that's where I think we're seeing that, like the ladies and the kids really going, oh, that is a job. I didn't know that was a job.
Another thing is hackathon is only in campuses, like college campuses. Why not bring it to middle school and, school?
I was
Yeah.
going to add to that. I
Yeah.
think play for kids is a huge thing. Previous generations, for the girls, it's generally like, oh, here's your baby and your dolls, and you can play house or a cashier at the supermarket. And I kind of played like I was a boss in an office because I loved visiting my dad's office. And I feel like encouraging that, but also like curiosity. If kids are interested in chemistry, get those sets that are super cool and fun. Encouraging that and, building them up from when they're young is a great idea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So we are a little bit over time. I'm just gonna, I'm not kicking you out of the room. You can stay and ask them as many questions as you want. I'm just gonna do my closing. Just following on Yolandi's question, any show of hands in the room, does anyone's mom or dad actually understand what you do? We got a couple. Excellent. So thank you again for your talk and your contributions to Alex, Bhavna, Yolandi, Lucy, Erin, Limor, Clara, and Diana. With that, we conclude our program for the first day of NANOG 93. I'd like you to take a moment to complete our Monday survey. We do have $100 gift cards to the person whose survey is drawn out of those that are completed. We have social events tonight, which include the Peering Coordination Forum, which starts at 5 o'clock. It is, if you pull up the map at the bottom of the agenda, that room is marked in yellow. It is directly opposite the elevators from this wing. And if you attended the Women in Tech social yesterday, it is in the room beside that. Speaking of the Women in Tech social, there are some faces in the room I did not see at the Women in Tech social. We would really love to see all of you. Women, people who identify as female, people who use she, her pronouns, all welcome to attend. Kelly's done a fantastic job of making that a lot of fun. Our theme for NANOG 92 in Toronto was Mario Kart, and our theme this year, or this NANOG, was the Oregon Trail. No one died, we all survived. Some of us had broken bones, and we all had to socialize with each other and take pictures wearing bonnets or mustaches, or both, in my case. The Monday night social begins at 7 o'clock. You need both your NANOG badge and your ID to get in, so please remember to grab your ID. There will be buses that are taking us. I don't know where the buses are going to go. I don't know when they're starting to leave. I don't know when they're coming back. Good luck. No. Thank you all for all of your participation. That was a fantastic panel. And